Mr. Taylor. Got any useless information to share while we get set up here? Does look a bit dark, doesn't it? There we go. That's better. Sound check. Let's see. So far, there's, well, one person in the chat waiting to get started. Let's get up the first video, or get it ready anyway. Add it to watch later. I did not. That's still in history. Okay, hold on. There it is. Oh boy.
Approaches like Pick Slanting.
Oh God. Oh boy. There was a very large bird in the yard. It wasn't a turkey. Was it bigger than the turkey? Hello, Plastodon. Hope things are going better for you. How's this week been going? Metal Mark, hello. I have no idea. I don't think I listen to psychedelic rock. Yep, Barenth. So we got a bit of a request. So, yep, old Barenth is gonna be on today. So we already probably have an idea of what this is gonna be like, but we'll see. Yeah, well, we'll start discussing it here in a moment. Well, I do know of Pink Floyd, obviously. I do like the, God, what the hell is the intro to that song? I think it's Wish You Were Here. The song that starts with, no, that's not right. God, how the hell do you play that? What is that first chorus? I can't remember, but you know. Anyway. Those aren't quite the chorus, but you know the song. I do really like that intro. Okay. I think we might be ready to go here. All right. let's double check the other one. Looks like we're okay. It is a nice, very nice Ibanez there. Wouldn't say I jumped ship. I wanted something with a thin neck and something without a tremolo because, well, as much as I have to play guitar for work, I would like to change strings more often, and I am sick of changing them on a Floyd Rose. I hate it. I hate changing strings, period. But doing it on a Floyd Rose is way worse. And I still got the other main one, the Monson guitar, the Batman looking one. So I got two guitars with necks I really like. I can go back and forth between. The Monson's is definitely a much thicker neck, but I'm so used to the fretboard that it still feels really good to play on. Very, very comfortable. Yeah. So this is a Wizard neck. I did look at some with the Ultra Wizard, like the thinnest one they have, but it was pretty much all tremolo system ones. The ones that I saw that did not have a tremolo system, and I'm just looking on Sweetwater, the ones that did not have a tremolo system, the colors were so god-awful ugly to me. I was just like, nah. I'm usually more concerned about just how well the instrument plays, not a huge thing about how it looks, but those colors were just so bad. I was like, never mind. But this one's working out very well. All right, everyone, let's get some coffee and get this going. All right, the first video of today's live stream, we're going to check out a requested one. And the title of this video, The New Era of Alternate Picking is Here, by Bernth. And the thumbnail, which is not on screen right now, I wonder if we can find it real quick. Let me see. There we go. So that is the thumbnail that caught the attention of the person who suggested it. He's in the chat right now. I guess I could just say, my dad asked about it. Hey, so pick slanting is dead, apparently. So we're about to see what this is all about. Pick slanting, for those who don't know, the term was basically popularized by Troy Grady. His brand is Cracking the Code, and Troy and I have done things together. In fact, I have a course being sold on his site called Obsidian. It's about extreme metal riffing. So, yeah, Troy's the one who really popularized the whole idea of pick slanting, which I'm sure we're going to get into, more detail here as we watch the Bernth video. But of course, these live reaction videos are never done with the intent to tear anyone down, even though I'm sure many people still think I'm being a jerk. In these types of videos, we see if we agree, disagree, and what I can add to the conversation to further help people get better at guitar. Is this coattail riding and clout chasing? Duh, obviously, yes. But if doing this helps me reach more people and grow the channel, damn it, I'm going to do it. And speaking of sounding like I'm being a jerk, I'm going to be upfront about this. I'm fairly familiar with Bernth. We've done some reaction videos on his stuff in the past, and unfortunately, the more recent videos that he started doing came across as very, more salesy than anything, promising bold things. Basically, well, he basically said stuff like he has over 40,000 students that it can do what he was doing in one video, which I think he's lying. I don't believe that whatsoever. I think Bernth can play very well, but I also feel he's being quite dishonest in a lot of his videos, which I do not like. So there we go, sounding like a jerk. But yeah, here we go. Let's get to the video. Might need to change the volume here, but let's find out.
If you've been stuck at the exact same picking speed for months, I need you to hear this. You've probably spent hours, maybe way more than just hours, on picking approaches like pick slanting. So working on the angle of the pick like this, so that your pick escapes from in between the strings with either the downward or upward escape movement. You probably tried to figure out the exact degrees and movements of your wrist angle. You've been debating whether you should play with an open or a closed hand. And I'm not here to tell you that's completely wrong. But I think a lot of players, especially self-taught guitarists, are trying to fine-tune the steering wheel of a car that doesn't have an engine yet. And I recently found the missing piece completely by accident. It wasn't a new slant or
Oh, I'm sorry. Was I? Wait, no, I had this on, right? Yeah. Duh, my brain just glitched. It was Barron's saying that he just recently found the missing thing. This is one of those things, like, missing for who? I mean, this guy has been playing for a long time. Professional musician, on stage, off stage. You know, he's done a lot. He's very, very successful in the music industry, I would say. It's certainly the guitar world, right? So I don't understand what he means by he found the missing... What did he say? The missing piece? Something like that, right? Well, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe a missing thing for other people. Plastodon did not like the opening lick.
Angle, it wasn't a completely by accident engine yet. And I recently found the missing piece completely by accident.
I'm very curious what this missing piece is, and I feel very skeptical right now. I'm already just bracing for something that's going to make me upset.
It wasn't a new slant or angle, it wasn't a completely new exercise. It came out of getting a single string completely dead on an 8-string guitar, and now it completely changed how I think about training speed on the guitar. I'm going to show you exactly what it is. So if you want to find out how I exactly pushed my picking speed to this level, I will
You were already playing that fast. You were playing this fast long before this video. And you said that you just recently accidentally discovered the missing piece for you to play this fast. I told you I was going to hear something that's going to make me upset. Barenth, you can play very well. You're faster than most people. Why say that? You know you've been playing this fast for a lot longer than whatever this 8-string thing is you're going to talk about. You've already been playing this fast. Anyway.
Show you exactly how you can accomplish that. And by the end of this video, you will have a way to test it yourself. But first, let's quickly talk about why so many players are actually stuck. Because I don't think it's your pick slanting approach at all. So here's the thing that nobody tells you about technical approaches like pick slanting. It optimizes efficiency. So it cleans up your string crossings It helps with reducing wasted motion, so it makes your picking path smoother, like this. That's real, and of course it matters. But efficiency is not the same as raw speed capacity. You can have the most efficient picking path in the world and still be capped at a certain BPM level, which is probably what's happening to you right now, because the actual engine, so the raw force and control your hand can generate, was never trained directly. That's the part nobody talks about. And it's the part I stumbled into completely by accident.
Plenty of people talk about this. That is, again, I feel it's extremely dishonest. Berth knows a lot of people. Come on, man. How can you sit there and say nobody talks about just finding out how to pick fast? In fact, the guy that you're, I'm assuming you know who Troy Grady is because you're talking about pick slanting. And you talked about downward escape and upward escape motion. Another thing that Troy Grady has popularized. The upward and downward escape motion is more recent. Pick slanting was around first, but then Troy started discussing or explaining motions with the downward escape and upward escape stuff. But Troy has videos, or at least one I know of. I haven't watched it, but I've heard about it. It's basically... It's start with fast speed. It's basically just figure out how you can play fast on one string. He has some demonstrations where he has some videos of people where he just shows them how they can pick fast on one string. So the person who popularized the person who popularized pick slanting, Troy Grady, also talks about just figuring out how you can pick fast. He definitely promotes the idea of finding out what motion works well for you in order to play fast and just doing it on one string, one note. And then you can take that information, like say, okay, well, are you picking down like this? Basically, when you play fast, are you picking down and away? Are you doing it like this angle? Are you picking like this for the most part? And then you can kind of figure out what riffs and licks work well for you so you can focus on like downward slanting stuff, upward slanting stuff, or like two-way slanting and things like that. So yeah, people absolutely have talked about just figuring out how to pick fast before applying pick slanting. Exactly. Plastodon said it. Troy talks about it all. Man, I'm getting worked up, damn it. And then one of the more recent videos we watched about someone talking about Berth, accusing Berth of being a pathological liar? Being dishonest? Berth, come on, man. I feel like this is very dishonest.
Accident. So we were tracking on this 8-string guitar, and we were working on a part where it was really important for that lowest string to be completely dead in the breaks where it's not being played. So we used a common trick for that through the top strings like this, just to completely kill everything above it while we got that mechanical cool sounding take. But then while the producer was mixing that pass, I was just sitting there messing around on the muted open strings up top, and that's where I noticed it. Every string I touched felt completely stiff, so there's no bring back at all. And while I was playing around like this, I thought, wait a second, this kind of feels exactly like a drum practice pad. Give me 90 seconds, this is going to click. When you mute strings with the cloth like this, you're not just killing the ring, you're completely killing rebound. So the little spring back a string normally gives you after each picking stroke, most of us absolutely never think about this, but that little spring back is quietly assisting your speed every single time you play. It's a little bit like dribbling a basketball very close to the floor. That's how it feels for me when I'm playing very fast alternate picking lines. But if you mute your strings like this, that assist is suddenly gone. So every bit of motion when you try to play fast
Wait, what?
has to come directly from you.
We're gonna rewind. We're gonna rewind a little bit there. I want to hear that again. I think he said that the string doing like some kind of rebound assists in you playing faster. Sound check. 1, 2. Bearsted. It looks like it's picking up again. Okay, good. All right, so yeah, the rebound. So it sounded like Barenth was saying that the rebound of the string can help you play fast. But if we look at where he was playing on that A-string guitar, he's playing back here near the bridge. So if you're playing, picking where you normally do, the string has some give to it. A little bit of bend while you're playing. But if you pick back here where he was playing when he had the 8-string and the cloth was muting and all that stuff, well, when you play here, the string doesn't bend at all, which I think allows you to play faster than playing over here, actually. I know Roy Marchbank will play back here. There's definitely some controversy with old Roy, which is a shame because he can play ungodly fast. He definitely plays extremely well, and I'll leave it at that. I don't know of any other players that really pick back here for the most part, but yeah, like, if you're playing back here, you have problems with muting strings when you do it like that. I think that's why Roy has, like, I usually see 2 kinds of fret dampeners over here, fret wrap type stuff to keep things muted. But yeah, like when you're playing over here next to the bridge, the string is extremely tight. So you don't need a cloth to reproduce that. You can just, another thing you can do, if you don't want to play over here and have better sound, is like test things while fretting really high. Sometimes I'll do that, just do like kind of a picking test or something to like really push picking speed and endurance. Just I'll hold the fret like 12th or the 24th fret and pick really close to that. Same kind of thing as, picking over here. But when you pick back here, you also have like less note articulation. Of course, that pickup probably doesn't help either. That actually wasn't that bad. So yeah, when you're picking where you normally do, the string will move around more. When you're picking way over here next to the bridge, the string's going to move even less. And when it's really tight like that, I think that's going to allow people to pick faster. And I believe that's why Roy Marchbank picks over there. And if anyone else knows of players who pick over here in order to play faster because the string doesn't move anymore or it moves a lot less, let me know. It'd be nice to have other examples. But anyway, let's rewind and see if Bernd said what I think he said.
That's the missing piece. Assist, very basketball-y. Most of us spring back, completely killing rebound. So the little ring, when you mute strings with the cloth like this, you're not just killing the ring, you're completely killing rebound. So the little spring back a string normally gives you after each picking stroke, most of us absolutely never think about this, but that little spring back is quietly assisting your speed every single time you play.
I completely disagree with that. Completely disagree, as I just talked about.
A bit like dribbling a basketball very close to the floor. That's how it feels for me when I'm playing very fast alternate picking lines. But if you mute your strings like this, that assist is suddenly gone. So every bit of motion when you try to play fast has to come directly from you. That's the missing piece. It's not a new slant, it's...
But the other thing about that idea, okay, let's say it did. The rebound helped you pick faster. How? Where is the rebound coming from? Because you're going through the string. It's not like the idea of bouncing a basketball. Like, the pick's not bouncing off of the string, right? It's not being bounced off the string. So that little analogy, it doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sorry, that makes no sense to me.
Resistance. If you've ever talked to a serious drummer, you know that practice pads are not just for silent practicing. A lot of drummers train deliberately on firmer, deader pads because there's way less rebound compared to a snare head. So why would you train on something harder than your real instrument? Because a lively snare, for example, bails out loose technique. The rebound you get does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. And the complete dead pad or even a pillow gives you completely nothing. Every stroke is generated and controlled completely and only by your hand and wrist. So drummers who train or warm up that way and then switch to their kit often say it feels much easier after that and it really helps them with building speed. And that's the exact relationship I think cloth muted strings have compared to normal picking. So here's an example of how you can practice this in your routine. I'm just using a regular guitar cleaning cloth. You can use pretty much anything that deadens the strings like this. What I don't want is a cloth that's sticking out like this, so I actually kind of unconsciously move my picking position. I move it right over the first pickup. That way I can normally pick in my regular position. And this is the sound you want. I'm not muting with my fretting hand. I'm really just playing open strings, but they are completely dead and they're extremely stiff compared to the regular open strings. So if this feels too loose or too close to how it normally feels, you need to mute the strings a little bit more. This is a relatively thick cloth.
Or just do what I said. Pick closer to the bridge. That's going to create the very stiff string. You can also kind of do a bit of both. Fret a really high fret and pick back here. Your string's not going to go anywhere. You do not need a cloth in order to practice picking fast this way. Nothing wrong with, nothing wrong with picking on this. God, I cannot talk. There's nothing wrong with practicing fast picking where the string isn't moving at all. But yeah, it's not going to be the same thing as a drummer going from a practice pad to a snare because, yeah, the rebound is very different with a drum versus a pick. As like Placidon says, the stick isn't going through like the pick. If it did, there would be no stroke left. Yeah, exactly. So, no, picking on a string that moves, you are not receiving rebound like a basketball being dribbled. It's not the same at all. Not at all.
I want them to be completely dead and stiff. And then you want an exercise that actively trains one of your weak spots, like string transitions. When I practice this, I switch between different note values. So for this exercise, I'm starting out with 8th note triplets. And I'm playing one note on the high E string before I switch to the B string immediately. And then I even perform some string skipping and jump to the G string. I immediately notice that I have to work harder because there's 0 rebound coming from the string. Then
I don't believe that he believes that. We're going to put it to the test. EVH. I think that's what Kiko did in his interview with Beato. Just muted his with a left hand and practiced arpeggios. That's a fine thing to do, but it just, yeah, just mute and then you can just do left or picking hand stuff. I haven't seen that part or haven't seen that interview. But yeah, like he's talking about what was the pattern here? Let me take a look at that tab. So it's like all right, so I'm doing the muting thing, right? I'm picking over here on the bridge, right? Let's see, I can do it without. Let's go clean for this. It'll sound nicer. All right. So because I have no rebound, according to Barenth, that should be easier when I move over here, where I have rebound. No, it's actually harder to control. Yeah, it's way easier to control when the string isn't moving. When you have rebound, it's harder to control, which actually produces slower speeds.
I immediately notice that I have to work harder because there's 0 rebound coming from the string. Then I switch to 16th notes.
You don't actually believe that.
This will also make you much better at rhythm because you're not doing anything with your fretting hand. You can really just focus on tightly playing this pattern to a metronome. Then in the third measure of the exercise, I switch things up and make it even harder when it comes to the string transitions. So I'm only playing one picking stroke on each string, and then the final measure is the hardest. I'm playing the same pattern again, but in 16th note triplets. So you will focus entirely on generating those clean, even strokes coming from your wrist. When you do this for the first time, you will feel the missing assist immediately.
There
you will run
no
drills like
assist.
this for 3 to 5 minutes. Then you can pull the cloth
You're
and
being
you can play the same
assisted by
pattern
the string
clean,
not
just
moving.
picking any notes or arpeggios. Most people notice the same thing I did. The strings feel unusually fast after.
No.
Go ahead and
No,
try
you
it right
don't.
now if you have a guitar next to you.
Who?
It's honestly pretty
Who
crazy.
says that?
Quick pause, because
Okay, if Barenth actually watches this, please list in the comment section. You say most people notice that the strings feel faster after doing your little technique there. Who? Who has told you that things feel faster? please share names, because again, if this is some brand new thing that you just discovered and made the video, how can most people have experienced the same thing you just recently accidentally discovered? It doesn't add up. This is why I feel that Bernth is mainly just trying to sell his programs, his courses, whatever, get you to sign up for Patreon, and that's fine. I'm trying to do the same thing too, but, you know, I want to do it in a way I feel is more ethical. You know, I don't want to BS you into giving me money. I want to earn it. And I'm not going to, you know, just flat out lie. And I highly doubt Bernth actually believes this stuff. Maybe somebody wrote this for him or had like, hey, here's an idea. Do this because this will bring in more money. It's going to bring in more views and all this stuff. I highly doubt that he actually believes this.
What I'm about to tell you is only available in one place right now. I just built the complete system around everything in this video. I'm calling it the rebound method.
He just built it, although he just recently discovered this on accident, but he also has a full program to go along with it. Holy moly.
Structured training blocks, 5 days each, 30 days total. A benchmark test on day 1 and day 30, so you see your actual numbers move, not just a feeling. You're never guessing what to practice. Every single day is mapped out for you. Right now, this brand new course is Patreon exclusive. It's not on my site, it's not bundled with anything else. Patreon is the only way in. And because you are watching this early, use code LEVELUP at the checkout for a serious discount on any annual memberships on Patreon. That code.
How is this early? I'm watching this, I don't know. Oh, this came out only 7 days ago? Oh, okay, well, it ain't that old then. No, but this was pinned 8 days ago. I can see something was updated then.
Code is not going to be around indefinitely. So if you've been sitting on the fence about joining my Guitar Academy on Patreon, this is genuinely the moment to move. The link's in the description and in the first comment.
That's absolutely just pure salesy shit right there. The whole like, oh, if you don't do it now, you're going to lose out. You know, fear of missing out. You better do it now. You've been thinking about it. Well, here's a great discount. You know what? I guarantee you more discounts are coming. If you don't act on this discount, there will be more later on. Come on. Have I done sales? Yes. Will there be more? Yes. I'm not going to act like this is the only time to get it because that would be a fucking lie.
Down below. It takes about 2 minutes and you're straight into day 1 of the course. Okay, back to it. Let's actually map out all 30 days together because I think seeing this whole system at once is going to make this land even harder. So phase number 1, those first 2 blocks from day 1 to day 10, that's the foundation. That's where we install the raw strength into your picking hand. Day 1 to 5 you will focus on an anchor strike exercise. This is single string alternate picking only. You're repeating the same rhythmic pattern on 1 string and you just move through the 3 highest strings, but there's no complicated crossing, no fretting hand complexity, just clean resistance-driven strokes. Everything else is built on this first block. Day 6 through 10 is focused on the crossover, and that's the exercise I showed you a bit earlier in this video. The strings are still muted, so you get the same resistance, but now you're crossing between different strings. That's exactly where most pickers lose clean technique, so we train it under resistance early. Then phase number 2, with those next 2 blocks, is all about integration. Day 11 to 15, you will work on a pulse ladder exercise. What I mean by that is that you're switching between 16th notes and 16th note triplets again, but this time you're about to synchronize your hands because your fretting hand comes into play. You won't really hear the pitches perfectly when the strings are muted, but I really want you to follow along with the fretting hand for this step, because you don't just want a faster picking technique, you of course want it to be perfectly in sync with what your fretting hand is doing. The next step is going to be about reach, and this is going to be a little bit difficult, because this will test whether your gains hold up once both hands have to sync up again, and this time it's with a really tricky string skipping pattern. So you can think of this as another crossover exercise, but it's placed right here because your fretting hand also has to be synchronized. Then phase number 3, with those last 2 blocks, that's the transfer phase. Now we're integrating this into your playing for real. Day 21 to 25, you will work on an actual scale sequence. So this is where it gets really practical. If you're into shredding and fast scale runs, This is what will move the needle the most for you, but it's important to go through the previous steps until you get here. And then, my friend, at the end, this is going to be all about release. And what that means is that the cloth literally comes off in the last block of this course. And in addition to playing the final exercise in the final chapter, I also want you to go through the previous chapters now that the cloth is off, play it clean at the maximum tempo. So there's a structured benchmark, so you can see exactly where you started against where you land at the end. At the end, if this is the kind of breakdown you want more of, make sure to subscribe to this channel. I'm putting out one of these every single week. And if you want to really integrate this into your playing and take your picking speed to a world-class level in the shortest amount of time possible, the link to the full course is down below. I'm waiting for you on Patreon. See you there.
So what, he's saying that he puts out a full 30-day course once per week? That's a lot of stuff. He must have a lot of help being able to actually produce full courses like that. Jesus. Well, there we go. Yeah, I feel it's a very dishonest video. Very dishonest. I mean, the whole structured plan at the end there, I mean, it's a fine structure. That can work for things for sure. One concern I would have is if you're practicing with the cloth and you can't hear notes being synced up, once you take the cloth off, I guarantee you a lot of people are going to have problems. I guarantee it. I love playing shred, but I don't like listening to it. Just maybe like tiny little things when it's, you know, sprinkled in on stuff, then good. But yeah. Ibanez got taken by Burns and making a signature guitar. Damn it. Money. That's exactly why. Because he'll bring Ibanez money, bring him sales. Has he said how pick slanting is dead? No. More obviously the thumbnail there to just bring in eyeballs. Like, what? What do you mean it's dead? I'm trying to say, well, instead of, concerning yourself with pick slanting, just do this other thing instead. That's why you can't pick fast. It has nothing to do with slanting, although the things that he has you do in there, slanting is a big part of it. Right? Now, as far as my thoughts on pick slanting, I have a video up, on like what it is, when I use it, and basically everyone does some degree of pick slanting, whether they know it or not. I am very guilty of that, because until Troy filmed close-up stuff of me, slowed it down and said, you're doing this, this, and this, I had no idea. Now, because of that, I'm also hesitant to tell students focus on pick slanting right away. If people can develop natural pick slanting on their own, natural controlled pick slanting on their own through the metronome method that I, promote and have people do, myself included. That's how I developed it. Then we don't need to worry about, obsessing over how the pick looks and its angle and its slant and all that stuff. Because sometimes, there's no one size fits all, right? Some people benefit big time from understanding the pick slanting process and how to utilize it. Others, they were playing fine for a while, and I'm saying this because of students I work with directly. They were playing fine, at least they felt like it was fine. They learned about pick slanting, and then they assumed they had to start picking a new specific way in order to play things, and then they just kind of lost progress or started tripping up. And I do believe that's a big part, or a big reason why it messed them up, is they have a misunderstanding of what was being presented to them. But yeah, that's why I tell people, just look, make sure it sounds good. If it sounds good, don't worry about it. If things are not sounding good and you have reached a plateau you can't get through, then we can start talking about and analyzing how you're slanting the pick. And I do teach people about it, when they start trying to play more complicated things. So this way they can try and implement it on a more conscious level. Anyway. Tone guitars. Love playing fast, don't care if it's dead or not. Yeah, playing fast is fun. But, yeah. Alright, well, there we go. End of that video. Let's get to another one. Let's see. Close that. Let's this was another one. Right, I'm not sure how this is gonna go.
There's a strange, unsettling.
It's gonna be a very different video, I think. Been meaning to watch it, so let's watch it now. Joe, hello. One of my lessons point out that I have started doing pick slanting on one of the etudes gave me and weren't working on that at all. Oh yeah, see, you started doing it naturally. There you go. Yes, pick slanting is important when changing the strings. I agree. I mean, you're gonna do it anyway. Okay, next video. So next one we're going to watch. I've seen some of this guy's stuff. We had a reaction one on a video about like him describing what he said was every type of chord. But I also watched some like guitar reviews he did. Seems like a decent guy. I haven't heard him say anything that's very, you know, salesy, anything like that. So, and he can play very well. Seems like he's got a lot of knowledge. Dr. Andre Flood Music. That's the name of the channel. And the name of the video, Guitar is Entering Its Darkest Era. But first, disclaimer time. Hey, these live reaction videos are never done with the intent to tear anyone down, even though I'm sure many people still think I'm being a jerk. Bernth might think I'm being a jerk. And his fans, too. In these types of videos, we see if we agree, disagree, and what I can add to the conversation to further help people get better at guitar. Is this coattail riding, clout chasing, whatever you want to call it? Yes, absolutely. If doing this helps me reach more people and grow the channel, damn it, I'm going to do it. All right, let's get to the video.
There's a strange, unsettling, almost dystopian shift happening in the online guitar world. Over the last few years, we've seen several high-profile controversies, including fake playing, stolen music, and guitarists presenting abilities that may not actually exist. On the surface, these look like separate cases involving...
Sorry, I shouldn't talk over him. I just thought that was funny. Watch, Barrett is going to show up.
Almost dystopian shift happening in the online guitar world. Over the last...
There he is. There's Barrett. I've recently started seeing more of his stuff. I can't remember his name. I'm sure somebody watching is going to know who this guy is. I think he's fairly popular. A lot of silly things. Jacober Records. I've been watching his stuff. He's really good at calling out people who mime fake record stuff. It's crazy how detailed this man can get with seeing these things and showing us. I think I know who this guy is here. I think his name goes by the name Sore Hands. And then this guy here, I think this guy is known for basically stealing other people's music and miming over it. I might be wrong. I'm sorry if I am, but I'm pretty sure that's who this guy is. This guy, I can't remember his name. I think Jacober Records actually did something on him. But anyway, let's continue.
Last few years, we've seen several high-profile controversies, including fake playing, stolen music, and guitarists presenting abilities that may not actually exist. On the surface, these look like separate cases involving a few dishonest people, but they're not. They're symptoms of a much deeper sickness, one that has been spreading through the online guitar culture for years. And the most disturbing part is that we were warned about the conditions that would create it. 5 years ago, virtuoso guitarist Mateus Asado shocked the guitar world by leaving Instagram. After years of suffocating under the pressure to produce flawless 60-second performances over and over again, he stepped away and openly discussed his burnout. His departure should have forced us to confront what social media was doing to musicians and what musicians were gradually being forced to become in order to survive it. But we didn't. Instead, the culture became considerably worse. There are already several channels documenting the mechanics of fake guitar playing, But that isn't what this video is about. I'm more interested in the culture that made it almost inevitable.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with who that guitar player was. Danny Sapko. Yes, thank you. That's who it is. He's a funny man. Silly boy. Yeah, I'm not familiar with who the guitar player was that Andre here is talking about. But yeah, I mean, I haven't really had any backlash for not playing well enough in any of the videos I do. Of course, the stuff that, my stuff gets seen, it's really small potatoes compared to, those who get a lot of views. Like, I'm very, very unknown. Most people don't know about me. I'm trying to change that. But I do understand, when you do a take, you want to try and make it as perfect as possible. I absolutely do that. And I was recording material today for the legato speed training course that's, always going to be in development. Basically, it'll never be done because I will always try and make improvements to it. But anyway, trying to get the initial videos for a lot of trill material. And yeah, if I feel like it wasn't spot on, dead on accurate, I'll do another take. And I really want it to sound as good as it could possibly sound. And part of that's because, well, it's an instruction video, right? And I feel like it needs to sound as good as it possibly can. If I'm going to release a take on anything, put a clip up, yeah, I want it to sound, you can say, as machine perfect as possible. But I also understand it's not going to sound like a MIDI guitar, nor do I want it to sound like a MIDI guitar. I hate it when stuff sounds like that. I actually had somebody, a student yesterday, video correspondence, he asked if I could show how to play this sweep-picked arpeggio part in a new Five-Finger Death Punch song. And I listened to it, and it is obvious MIDI or just heavily edited. Because, the sweep... I think the first one was something like... Yeah. No. And it's about that fast. But each thing that you hear, it's just like a clear, every note sounds like it was maybe alternate pick like that. There is just the separation from each note is MIDI perfect. It sounds like MIDI perfect. And that's one thing I hate about modern metal production. It's just, it takes out the human element. It's not a real performance. It's like, what the hell is the point of doing any of it if you're just going to edit the damn thing into oblivion? So, yeah, I think it's a big-time problem. Thank you.
Technology, the pressure, and the impossible standards surrounding modern guitar content. We'll begin with the lessons we should have learned from Matheus Assato. Then we'll examine how online virtuosity gradually became a facade. And finally, we'll talk about how you can enjoy guitar content without allowing it to damage your confidence or distort your relationship with the instrument. This is especially important for those of you who play guitar because you love it, not because your livelihood depends on performing for an algorithm. And honestly, it's probably impacting you more than you realize. By the way, if we haven't met yet, I'm Dr. Andre Flood. I'm a guitar teacher who helps adult players organize their scattered musical interests into a clear path for their unique guitar journey. And I'm making this video because it's these same adult players who often become overwhelmed by social media. 1,000 disconnected licks and lessons, blazing speed, flawless performances, and constant comparisons. I hope this video eases your frustrations and improves your relationship with music. But before we examine where the guitar world is now, we have to first understand the artists whose rise revealed both the promise and the pressure of online guitar culture. That begins with Matheus Assato's early years. Prior to Instagram, Asado was already a highly respected guitarist. In 2010, he won first place in Brazil's Double Vision contest, outperforming over 800 musicians at just the age of 16. Then in 2014, while attending the prestigious Musicians Institute, Asado earned the Outstanding Guitar Player Award. Soon after, his Instagram account rapidly transformed into a hub for modern guitarists, eventually amassing over 1.2 million followers. The platform's 15 to 60 second video format was, at the time, perfectly suited to spread a genuinely unique and prolific musician like Asado. His videos were a sophisticated, fluid amalgamation of neo-soul chordal movements, blues rock phrasing, and jazz-inspired voice leading. He popularized a dreamy, hybrid style with subtle slides, double stops, and vocal-like bends. In fact, many would say that Asado became the literal archetype for Instagram guitar, whilst also touring the world, performing at huge venues, and getting signature gear. For many musicians, this is the dream.
That was a cool sounding lick. That was a cool sounding lick. Oh, I see what you mean. Andy James, I guess that's the guitar player for Five Finger Death Punch. It's definitely edited. There's no way in hell that thing's not. Just, you listen to it, it sounds like a computer. It immediately sounds like a computer. There's no way. No way it's a regular performance.
The best case scenario that only a select few, the 0.1%, get to enjoy. But in early 2020, everything changed when live music came to a sudden stop. The situation was dire for any guitarist whose livelihood depended on performing or in-person teaching. But Asado was better positioned than most since he already had a massive online following. Over the next year, Instagram became an even bigger part of his creative life, up until February 8th, 2021. On this day, Asado renamed his Instagram account at BRB, deactivated it entirely, and announced an indefinite hiatus from music. Alongside that decision, he released a stark, multi-part statement describing a deep creative, psychological, and philosophical crisis. Other prominent guitarists spoke up in support, many describing their own version of the same pressure. And this is where we get our first set of practical lessons. We're going to examine what I call the mechanics of algorithmic burnout. I encourage you to pay close attention because this does not only affect stars like Mateus Asado, it affects any guitarist, professional or amateur, who spends enough time inside social media guitar culture. So probably you watching this video on YouTube. Let us begin. The first phenomenon is what I call the illusion of flawlessness. It exists because social media does not simply capture performances. Over time, it starts to shape the performance itself. Here's how and why. When your success depends on grabbing someone's attention and instantly holding it for 15 to 60 seconds, guitar playing evolves. No, guitar playing warps into something artificial. And that's because platforms reward the most impressive moment, the cleanest take, the flashiest passage, the most emotionally polished little fragment of music that appears to be totally spontaneous and off the cuff. After all, I just always play with perfect lighting, perfect tone, perfect timing, no fret buzz, no missed note, no awkward transition or visible struggle. But Asado and others have since admitted that creating 60 seconds of perfection often requires hours, even days of grueling practice and hundreds of takes.
Yep. Yeah, well, the whole song is just edited to all the hell. I mean, it's just, you know, overly compressed. Everything is to the grid. Just an absurd amount of production to it. It's just, I hate that production style. I hate it. I cannot stand it. Yeah, like what Dr. Andre Flood right here is talking about. Yeah, 100%. And that's one reason why you've seen me, well, maybe not, but one reason I do live practice sessions here to show what, you know, what goes into it, because it's a ton of work. And yeah, like, absolutely, a 60-second clip could easily take 6 hours to produce, maybe even more. And yeah, I've had some students say, oh, well, all these people are able to do these things and play so fast and so well online. How come I can't? Like, you don't see all the stuff that goes into it. You don't understand, like, they're showing you the most polished take they were able to do out of, could very well be hundreds of takes. Like, you don't understand how long these people are working on the one little thing in order to do that. It's crazy. Like, the amount of work that goes into these things.
The only problem for the guitar student is that if you attempt to play at a similarly perfect level, all of your practice time will be spent chasing a nearly impossible task.
Agreed.
And as a result, you'll stay stagnant both in skill and in enjoyment. In fact, over in my guitar learning community, Clarity Guitar Studio, one of the favorite concepts is my 70% rule. Simply put, I advise only attempting to reach a 70% competency on any key skill before moving on. Of course, the method is a bit more detailed than that because we cycle through skills in a specific manner and eventually push beyond 70%. But that's the basic idea. Anyway, whilst
I'm very curious how that would actually play out in the long run. I'm sure he does have a logical reason for it, and it's more in depth on the website. I'm only bringing that up because my whole thing is only perfect practice makes perfect. So yeah, you do want to strive for like a 100% thing. My thing is, like, is it good enough to be on your album? The answer is yes, then you move on. If it's not good enough to be on your album, then it wasn't good enough to like go up in speed or whatever. But, you know, I'm sure he's got reasons for it. And I'm sure it's not as simple as just, oh, it's, 70% good enough. Anyway. Yes, the decade or two of practice before the 100 takes, exactly.
under the illusion of flawlessness, but that's the basic idea. Anyway, whilst under the illusion of flawlessness, you spend hours seeing perfect snippets online, then you practice for hours trying to be perfect, only to fail. So you take a break and scroll social media where you see 1,000 perfect clips back to back to back from this seemingly endless world of perfect guitar players that you somehow never see or hear in any guitar store. Over time, the instrument can stop feeling like a companion and start feeling more like a mirror that only reflects what you aren't. This has a horrible negative impact on your musical development, your enjoyment, and your mental health. But the algorithm doesn't only make playing look more perfect, it also makes everyone's music start to take the same shape. I call this second phenomenon the homogenization of guitar. Asado described this very clearly when he said he got lost inside the boxes of 15 to 60 second videos. He also said, I have a big feeling that we are losing the essence of musical interaction, establishing patterns based on the same 4-bar chord progressions. When we combine these two quotes, we're forced to confront the following truth. When a musician has to compress their entire musical identity into 15 to 60 second clips, certain things naturally disappear.
That reminds me, back when it worked, I'd take clips of video recaps I do for students where I demonstrate what they have to practice. And God, what the heck was it? I was playing a lot of stuff a handful of years ago where I was just demonstrating a lot of stuff at 60 beats per minute, because that's what I have everybody start with. And I think those are the recaps. No, actually what I did, I took old material from students. It was making clips from that. And I was recording everything at 60 beats per minute and then like saying, where people could find the tabs for it and all that. And it was like maybe a 16th note strumming pattern at 60 beats per minute. And I was always promote everything on Facebook for just $1 a day, just to try and get, drum up more business. And it was working well for a while. Doesn't seem to work so well anymore. And one guy said, your rhythm's very good, very metronomic, but you're so slow, or something like that. You play slow as F, next time play something that's significant. And I'm just thinking, this guy just judged my entire, at that time, really around like 2 decades of playing guitar on this one 10, 15-second clip and just assumed that I'm play slow as F and I don't do anything significant. I need to, maybe I need to practice picking my strings with a cloth on it. Shawnok, I like Bernth, but his music does sound like a long exercise. Doing your channel, thank you. Now, glad you like it. All right, yeah, let's get back here into the video.
You don't have time to slowly build an idea or develop the emotional arc found in great solos or songs. Instead, everything gets pushed towards the moments that work immediately. The prettiest chord loop, the fastest lick, the most eye-catching techniques. In other words, the things that make people stop scrolling. Everyone starts optimizing for the same kind of moment, which becomes the same style of music. That's how we ended up with so many clips built around the same basic ingredients. 4-bar chord progressions, smooth textures, a soulful melodic idea, followed by a quick burst of technical brilliance. Instead of a varied, diverse guitar language, we have templates. I hate to say it, but I doubt BB King would blow up on social media if he were born in the 2000s. Comment below and let me know. Actually, let's spread some diverse music instead. Comment below with your favorite musician that you also think may not have been successful if they were born in today's guitar world. Let's share some great artists in the comments below. But now we're on to the final part of algorithmic burnout, which I've named the isolation of musical identity. Sometimes we forget this, but music was never meant to exist exclusively as a private act of perfection. Artists need live interactions. The most obvious example is performing live or listening to live music. That could be a bar gig, performing at your local church, a jam at your buddy's place, or just going to a live concert. It all counts. But here's the thing, playing and or listening to live music isn't the entire picture. Some people are perfectly happy playing in their bedroom and keeping the instrument as a deeply personal part of their life. In fact, I've made videos about these type of artists, I'll link them below. But there's a difference between music being personal and music becoming isolated. And social media has blurred that line in a very unhealthy way. If you were a teenager in the 70s, 80s, 90s, or even the 2000s like me, a lot of guitar culture happened in person, jamming at a friend's house, getting into heated debates about bands. In fact, growing up in the New York City area, my friends and I would go to 48th Street Music Row back when it still existed. And we'd spend hours annoying the staff by basically doing full-on rehearsals on floor guitars that we were absolutely not going to buy. We'd also pool our money and spend $20 to rent a rehearsal studio with great amps just so we could play loud on good gear for a couple hours. And if you had experiences like this growing up, please comment below and share them, because chances are a lot of those local studios, shops, and hangout spots are gone. Even in New York City, Music Row is gone. Sam Ass relocated, but that closed too. But the bigger point is this. These small in-person interactions may seem unimportant, but they're a huge part of how we build and maintain a healthy musical identity. They remind us that guitar is not just about proving how good we are. It's also, and more importantly, about sharing excitement, curiosity, frustration, taste, and discovery with other people. Social media can replace that with a much colder musical life. Now, I could list many other problems with social media guitar culture, but for now, these 3 concepts represent the mechanics of algorithmic burnout.
Yeah, really, I'm on board with everything that he's saying, you know. Yeah, back when I was getting into the whole music thing, used to do jam sessions a lot with people, you know, just make stuff up on the fly. I remember one group of guys that I was going to do some auditioning stuff for. It was very foreign to them. They'd never done jam session stuff, which was weird to me because that's how it always was when I was meeting up with potential new band members and whatnot. We just knew how to jam. Yeah, it's always a blast to do when you got people that can play on your level, you know. And And then, if you can't have like an on your level, it has many different things. Because I've also had like tried to jam with some people that, could play some stuff just fine on their own, but like they couldn't make something up on the spot very well. And it was tough to try and like navigate them into like, okay, well, we'll try this and that, and then they like kind of do a little thing and that doesn't really go anywhere. And so, yeah, it's when people don't have a background in actually just playing stuff and jamming, it's a bummer. It's a bummer, man. But yeah, I've had some great experience just jamming stuff with people. And it's weird how like you can have an unspoken connection when, whether one guy, two other guys, and you just like, you kind of instinctively make the same kind of change in the music, when to like accent something or move on to another thing. It's neat. So yeah, you can't get that just by playing on your own in your room. Nothing wrong with that. I typically do that anyway because I do get to have writing and playing sessions with my dad every weekend, most weekends. And that's good. Don't really think I'm going to ever get back into like a full-fledged band again. Like, I just burnt out on the whole thing. I've done it. Haven't done that many shows compared to a lot of people, but was it fun? Yeah, it was an absolute blast. Sometimes I miss it. I might do solo stuff again someday, but, I just don't have the energy to do it. There's just so much damn work involved with it. So, often wonder how would Eddie Van Halen or Stevie Ray Vaughan or Yngwie be looked at if they came out on the scene right now. Well, if they came out right now with like comparing the music they do now to what's out today, I have no idea. That's kind of a hard question to answer. Sure, people will be like, well, I know Yngwie gets all kinds of crap nowadays because anytime somebody can find him playing a live performance where he makes some mistakes on something and it's not flawless, people are just giving him all kinds of hell, It's just, people just loved it. Yeah, how does it go? Like, people love to lift you up when you're nobody, but then when you get big enough, they love to put you down, right? Jesse, hello, sir. Can I play the solo? I don't know it. I know very little solos. I know very little covers, period. Frank Gambale is a wizard at improvisation, especially over those crazy changes. Don't know how he does it. I'm guessing he just studied the hell out of theory and just practice. And some people just have a natural ear for it, just have a knack for it. I guarantee Gambale is one of the people that has a knack for it. All right, let's get back. About halfway done with this guy. Again, so definitely good video. Lots of great points. Very much agree with what he has to say.
The illusion of flawlessness, the homogenization of guitar, and the isolation of musical identity. The 3 lessons we should have learned from Masato 5 years ago. By the way, this will be a good time for you to subscribe to the free Lifelong Guitarist newsletter. It's a free article that gets sent to your inbox every Saturday morning, and we discuss everything from guitar mindset to lessons, even occasionally gear. We have over 7,000 guitar players who are enjoying the newsletter every Saturday, and I think you'll enjoy it too. So again, click below to join for free. But now we turn to section 2, the aftermath, the evolution, and an uncomfortable truth. Because remember, when Masato took a break, everyone was super receptive, and as a culture, we agreed that we needed to work collectively to change our musical environment. But now here's that uncomfortable truth. Asado and others unintentionally proved that the hyper-polished social media guitar model is the most effective way to win the online attention economy. And everyone can say they support genuine music, realistic expectations, and honest artistry, but the numbers, the sponsors, the financial success, it all tells a different story. Now, to be clear, this is not a criticism of Asado. He has great ideas, a beautiful style, and he worked insanely hard. The tours, the signature guitars, the online following, the financial rewards, all of his success is 100% deserved. But the question is, what happens when someone wants the reward even if they don't have the genius artistry and patience? If you don't have a developed musical imagination, if you don't have the patience for hundreds of takes, nor the integrity to actually play the thing for real, well, the next logical step is quitting, or some form of theft, fakery, and or digital manipulation. This is almost Darwinian, and that's what we see all over social media. In fact, while writing the script for this video, yet another fake plan.
I saw this. Danny Sapko, yeah, he did a video on this, and he actually found the AI-generated blues song that this woman was miming over. She like pitch shifted it and just mimes over the same song in just different videos, different locations. But I think she also plays it in a different spot on the fretboard. It's really weird. Very, very weird. Shred isn't a trend. It's a guitar, but yeah. Looking at it that way, I agree with that one. Wart shred. We can start a new genre called wartcore. Any new genre, just put a core at the end of it. That's how you come up with a new name. Anyone remember crabcore?
Playing controversy happened. I don't support fake playing or stealing music, but I also can't pretend to be shocked that it happens. It's similar to performance-enhancing drugs in sports or stimulants in a hyper-competitive corporate environment.
That one I disagree with. Now, I think there's a very big difference between taking steroids in order to speed up your healing process and allow you to put on muscle mass that you can never do naturally. There's a much bigger difference between that versus miming over performance, editing the ever-living hell out of things to make your music sound better and, you know, fake as hell. Because, I mean, you could argue, oh, well, the people faking the music stuff, they're still putting in effort for it. Yeah, but they're not actually getting better at the instrument. Whereas the person taking the steroids is still putting in work in the gym in order to create new results. Basically, you take away the performance-enhancing drugs, they're still going to be bigger and stronger than most people out there anyway. It's really an aid. And some people don't respond well to steroids anyway. Some people are just, well, I'm going to say necessarily a non-responder, but some people just don't respond well. And as I've learned, there's a lot of people taking that stuff. You'd never think they were on anything. So they're taking the cheating thing, and they don't even look like they're on anything. So it's very much an individual type thing. Stimulants for the work world. I mean, you're taking, it's like taking caffeine, right? Caffeine's a stimulant. So, I mean, you know, me drinking a bunch of coffee, is that really the same thing in order to get me all hyped up and ready to go and take on the day? Is that really the same thing as somebody faking a MIDI guitar performance? I don't think so. So this one, that one I do agree with, but, you know, and I have considered doing the old steroid route before, but for health reasons and the fact I don't want to lose my gains after I get off the stuff, it's, you know, Not something I'm ever going to do. And, it's a big risk to do that stuff. But yeah, I don't think it's the same thing. Freya Core, there we go. Glad you like the Ibanez. What? God, I can't remember, man. Does it say it on the back here? RGA 21P1PB. How does Ibanez expect anyone to remember this stuff? I guess it's a good thing it's on the back here. But yeah, RGA 21P1PB. That's what it is there. Take away the coffee and you're just a grumpy fool. Yeah, I mean, gotta have coffee, goddammit. What are effective exercises to develop great legato technique? Well, I like the stuff I have in my legato training program. Any legato exercise can develop it as long as you do perfect practice. And, of course, you want to get it faster. Metronome the thing up. Definitely. And I always recommend start with very small things. Make it easy. Start with very easy things for you, and then gradually do bigger and bigger ones. But yeah, the legato training program I got going. That's the quick answer. Sorry, I want to get back into this here, or else I would start going over a lot more examples. But we're starting to run out of time today.
In this fast-paced attention economy, with powerful editing software, massive social rewards, and very few barriers to deception, fakery and theft are predictable temptations. That doesn't make it right, but it does explain how we got to this uncanny valley of guitar playing. A new standard where there are no human imperfections that confirm a real person is touching real strings. In this new standard, a normal, tolerable mistake feels like evidence that you aren't talented. And a simple, soulful musical idea feels pedestrian. And as a teacher, I can't overstate how detrimental this is. In the Asato era, you were chasing a bar set by a super special, amazing human. Copying that is exhausting and impossible for most people, but at least the standard was made of flesh and bone. But now things have mutated. When you're comparing your bedroom practice to a clip that has been quantized, edited, and speed ramped, you are not failing to reach a high standard. You are failing to do the impossible. And as a result, your own playing starts to feel mediocre because you're comparing it to a version of guitar that does not even exist in real life. This is a dystopian cycle. Consume perfection, internalize perfection, attempt perfection, fail to reach perfection, repeat by consuming the thing that made you feel inadequate in the first place. This isn't about internet drama or clickbait titles. It's a horrible musical evolution that we are all witnessing in real time. But I have a few solutions. And so we turn to our conclusion. Section 3, how to protect yourself and live a happier guitar life. Now, to be honest,
I wonder if it's going to be just stay the hell off of social media. Thank you, Jesse. Appreciate that.
This last section is going to be a little uncomfortable for me because I'm guitar life. Now, to be honest, this last section is going to be a little uncomfortable for me because I'm just going to share my own insecurities and strategies I used to overcome them. Yes, I have my own musical credentials and accomplishments after over 20 years with guitar, but honestly, I never related to most musicians. And that's because most people who make it to the professional level have musical gifts that I personally never understood. I started with zero natural talent, and it took me a very long time to make progress. And today, while my peers claim they don't practice because they practiced so much as a teenager, I still have to wake up every single day and practice. A lot. So hopefully the raw details of this last section make it easier for you to apply this advice to your own playing. The first tip is to identify, connect with, and at all times, remember your unique musical goals. Here's a quick story from my life to explain this better. Jack Gardner is an amazing guitarist, and he's been posting online since we were both teenagers. He was better than me back then too, but we were close enough that my teenage brain could compare and feel good about my level. Since then, Jack has become one of the best fusion guitar players on the planet. A couple weeks ago, he was on Rick Beato's channel playing amazingly as ever, and Jack has built a career on being an incredible modern guitarist. Since I have the reference point in my brain of what we were both playing as teenagers, seeing how much he's improved can make me feel behind, like I haven't progressed enough. But this is exactly why we must, and say it with me, identify, connect with, and at all times, remember your unique musical goals. See, when I look at Jack and say, we're the same age, why can't I do that? There's a clear and simple answer. Becoming a fusion artist was never my goal, so I never tried to become that. I was fascinated with teaching music and passionate about helping others work through the same confusion and frustration I dealt with. The bad explanations, the scattered information, all of the little gaps that make guitar feel harder than it needs to be. And when I focus on my primary goals, helping ordinary people understand music and guitar, simplified jazz, soulful blues, normal, attainable rock, I can honestly say I've made tremendous progress in this goal. So the lesson here is, don't judge yourself based on a sudden moment when you look at someone else's life and temporarily borrow their goals just long enough to feel bad about yourself.
Yeah, I think that's excellent advice right there. Like he said, he basically said he never had the goal of being a fusion guitar player, so why is he going to let someone who's really good at fusion guitar get him down? Yeah. Like sweep picking, I would still say that's like my weakest technique when it comes to like shred type playing. But, people can do it better than me. I don't sit there and feel that crappy. It's like, damn, I can't do that. But I don't care enough about it to really change it. At least not yet. And then time and energy. I gotta spend my energy on other things than besides practice right now. I'm trying to make a living, damn it. And practicing does not fit that. Doesn't work for that right now. Someday, it'd be nice to be able to do it more often. But anyway, yeah, excellent advice on that one.
You're probably doing a lot better than you think. This next bit of advice is really just a deeper expansion of that same idea. Always tie your skill level to your life. And this becomes especially important when you're comparing yourself to someone around your same age. Because when you see some 12-year-old prodigy shredding, it's easy to separate yourself. You can say, okay, that's just some prodigy online. But when you see someone in person, your age, someone who's been playing for roughly as long as you, someone who also maybe has an office job, a family, well, that comparison can hit much harder. But in those moments, we have to ask a different question. When that person was putting in the extra practice hours to reach that skill level, what was I doing? For me personally, over the last 20 plus years while I was learning and teaching guitar, I was also studying multiple languages, doing academic research, hell, winning BJJ competitions. I was building skills and memories outside of music that became part of who I am now. So in some imaginary version of my life where I somehow had all the same skills as a guitar player like Jack, I would probably have to sacrifice a lot of my valued experiences to get there. So I ask you, if you have kids, a wife or husband, a cat that runs your entire household perhaps, would you trade all of those experiences for a different life where you just happen to be a little better at guitar? Because the truth is, there is no where you just happen to be a little better at guitar. Because the truth is, there is no version of this where you get to keep every beautiful part of the life you actually lived, whilst also magically inheriting the skill level of some imaginary alternative version of yourself who did nothing but practice. Oh, and by the way, Jack Gardner, the guy who I personally think is an amazing, flawless player, he's discussed his own insecurities and struggles with guitar and mental health as well. Have you ever heard of Wes Montgomery?
Yeah, like lifestyle definitely plays a huge part in how well you can develop. There is a genetic component as well. Some people can just do it faster. That's just how it is. Some people are just made to do it. But yeah, when people talk about like, oh, well, I've been playing for 5 years. This guy's been playing for 5 years. How come he's so much better than me? Well, just because it's been 5 years since you started doesn't mean you put in the same amount of time either. Because they could definitely be putting in, multiple hours, many hours throughout the week, where you're only putting in 1 hour each week. So that can make a big difference. How they practice versus how you practice absolutely makes a tremendous difference. So all kinds of factors that go into it. And I'm sure he's going to agree with me on this. And maybe he'll even say it coming up here. He's basically already kind of said it in a way. But don't compare yourself to others. Compare yourself to yourself. Are you doing better than you were yesterday? Do you feel like you're actually making improvements? Are you having fun? That's the big thing. Are you having fun? If you're trying to get better and you feel like you are improving, like you're a better player today than you were yesterday, you're on the right track. It's the best thing you can do. That's one lesson I had to really take to heart when it came to the whole bodybuilding thing. It's like, I'm never going to be as big as who I wanted to be as big as. It's just not going to happen. I don't have the genetics for it. And then currently, lifestyle stuff, like, in order to do what I really want, like the training and the dieting, I can't have this job. It's too, I'm not saying this to complain, so please don't take this the wrong way, anybody. But it is a very mentally draining, taxing thing to do day after day. It takes a lot to teach. It does. It's rewarding, yes. I absolutely love seeing students get better. And actually, it's like if a student feels bad that they're not making the progress they want, I feel that too, because I want you guys to get better. And like when I'm watching a student try and play something, they're working hard at it, and they're like, they're trying to play something at a fast speed for themselves, and they're just about to get the take, and they blow it at the end, like, I feel that too. Like, it's like, damn it, like you almost had it. And then when they finally get it, like, yes, you did it. Fantastic. But it takes a lot of energy. And then trying to, run your own business, which is what I'm doing, and doing it all on your own. God damn it, that's tiring. And to throw dieting, where I'm basically, trying to be in a calorie deficit all the time, and I need to, train to grow or whatever, and then have to get enough rest. Like, it's not in the cards right now. I can't do it all. And now, in my fucking 40s, makes a big difference too. So yeah, lifestyle absolutely plays a humongous factor in how well you can develop any skill. And genetics play a big part in that too. Bigger part than I think a lot of people want to admit. Shawnok, you can sweep well, but you struggle with the alternate picking. So yeah, we all got our strengths, right? One day I'll take a vacation, take the guitar to resort, practice all day. One of these days, I'd love to be able to just take a month off. Plastodon, if I didn't have to work all those years, I would be a much better guitarist, and then other life stuff gets in the way. Yep, exactly. That's why how long have you been playing guitar has misleading answers. Yeah, some people have been playing for 20 years but stopped after getting better first year. Yep, very true. Stick with the teaching. I will be sticking with the teaching. Do I think going to the gym helps with guitar? Yes. The better you take care of your body, the better you can play an instrument, for sure. And you could look at some people like Sean Lane. He was a pretty big dude. I highly doubt he ever did any exercise, but he could play extremely well, better than most ever could hope to. But he himself admits he's a genetic freak. So he has, something like a freakish nervous system, he said. It's like, with, comes to playing fast, people ask, like, well, if I get stronger, can I play faster? I would think so, because people who sprint you know, if they train their legs and make their legs stronger, they can sprint faster. So why wouldn't the same thing apply to playing an instrument? Appreciate that, Jesse. Stay semi-fit, no need to go extreme. Well, I want to be better than semi-fit. I am more fit than most people my age, for sure. I believe I'm more fit than most people in their 20s. Like, usually my resting heart rate is in the high 50s. And if I get more strict with things, it's even, you know, can drop it down a little bit more. Like, I know I'm physically fit, you know, I'm above average in physical fitness, which I'm quite happy with. Has age affected my playing? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I've had little tweaks of pain here and there from like repetitive strain injury stuff I got to be careful with. So that could be an age-related thing. But not too much, no. Oh, your neck issue might stop your playing even more. I'm sorry to hear that. That is no fun. Well, all right, let's continue on here. We have just a couple minutes left of the video.
One of the most legendary struggles with guitar and mental health as well. Have you ever heard of Wes Montgomery? One of the most legendary guitarists of all time. He has also discussed tremendous struggles when it came to his perspective on his own playing. So it doesn't really matter what level of a guitar you get to, you're always going to struggle with that mindset aspect unless you work on it. But I saved this next part for last because it sounds a little cliche at this point, but it's true. You just gotta be careful about how you use social media. Some people say, get off of social media, and I do that too at times, periodically, but there's ways to use it in a healthy moderation. The deeper issue is how we casually let stuff into our brains. So the easiest first step is to set clear boundaries for your social media use. I don't care if you want to scroll for 2 minutes or for 2 hours a day. At least say to yourself, I am only going to scroll from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Honestly, that's still probably not the best habit, but it's a good start. Because for many of us, whenever we have a free moment standing in line or using the toilet, we pull out our phone and do a quick scroll. And if we use social media in that way, we're constantly going to run into things we weren't prepared to handle in that moment. My wife actually used to do this a lot. She would open up her phone randomly, scroll social media, see a horrific world event, and then show it to me. And I would always get upset because I wasn't ready to handle it. I don't need to see some disastrous world event while I'm in the middle of trying to convince Bonnie to love me. When I'm ready to look at the news and see what's happening in the world, I have a time and headspace for that. And honestly, I think the same thing is true for guitar content. Use it mindfully. Set aside a time when you actually feel excited about finding new guitar inspiration. Say to yourself, for the next X amount of time, I'm going to watch some guitar players, I'm going to look for inspiration, maybe a new lick, a new lesson, or a new idea. Then enjoy your scroll. But afterward, close the app and get back to making music. Because a healthier guitar life is not only about consuming less, it's also about becoming more connected to your own unique musical voice. And that requires two things. First, you need a healthier and more effective way to think about your progress, your goals, and the kind of player you're trying to become. But then, you also need a clearer understanding of the instrument itself. And for adult guitarists, that usually comes down to one very specific frustration. You've learned some songs, you learn scales, chords, maybe even a few impressive licks. But when you pick up the guitar without a song, a tab, or a backing track telling you what to do, the fretboard still feels confusing. This is where so many guitarists get stuck. And it's why you still don't feel completely free to just pick up your guitar and play. So in this next video, I'm going to bring those two ideas together. I'll show you how to think about progress and build a plan that'll help you actually move forward, how to stop feeling constantly behind, and how to organize all of that on your fretboard in a way that finally makes things click. Click here to watch that video and I'll see you there.
What does it actually mean to
Then we watched this one. I think that's it for the videos today. Go back to that.
There's a strange, unsettling,
These guys must have the fact that they already can plug another video at the end of this one. I was like, how many of these things do they have made and ready to go? I'm definitely giving that one a like. That was a pretty good one. I feel like most of what he had to say there. I mean, especially everything pertaining to the music, yes. Oh, let's see. Yes, I did have that cyst. That sucked. Shade Viking, hello. Good to see you on. Well, I don't think we're going to watch any more videos today. Yeah, I did watch that. Why the hell is that still in the playlist? Yeah, we definitely watched that one. All right. Well, if anyone's got any other questions, little topics of things to discuss, we can do that now. Metal Mark, if you're still on, we can... Now I can talk more about legato stuff. Relaxing and watching your favorite shows. What are some of those favorite shows? How to apply two-way pick slanting without always having to think about it. Metronome, 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 metronome. So that's how I ended up developing the whole thing. That's why... So, like, whatever it is you're going to work on, I'll just give a very, very general idea. Start at 60. Work on something small. You don't want to be working on like a 12-bar thing. Like usually 4 bars max. You could push it up to 8. It really depends on what it is. But just, maybe like even 1 bar could be fine. Let's say, on average like a 4-bar thing. Play it correctly just one time at 60, then you go up to 65. Play it one time correctly there, then you can go to 70. And you keep increasing it in 5 BPM increments. Never, ever faster. Never faster. Go slower, that's totally fine. But then you make sure that it sounds correct every step of the way. Every step of the way. And then eventually you're going to reach speeds where the picking mechanics will have to change a little bit. Don't fight it. Let it happen. And just make sure it sounds good every single step of the way. Try a little, different hand motions, movements, how you hold it, your arm, elbow, shoulder. I still do that. I'm trying to play something. I might need to like move my arm out a little bit or kind of change where I'm positioning to pick, things like that. But then you just drill things like that again and again and again and again and again. And another thing you can do once you like reach a max speed for the day on something, drop it down like 10, 20 beats per minute. Basically down to a speed that's close to where you maxed out, and then you just loop it again and again and again and again and again and again and again. So that's one way. I mean, that's the basic idea right there, is just do that kind of thing. Do I ever, wait, oh, yeah, we go. Do I ever check with students how many have that fast twitch capability like you have? Not many. Not many. I like showing a couple people, maybe more than a couple. I don't think many people have it. It doesn't seem like they do. How many hours a day do I work? Listens to video. It really depends. Like some days, and like, are we also going to include, breaks? Some days I might start at like 8:30 a.m., 9 a.m., and I won't be done until 6 p.m., 7 p.m. Really depends. And other days, I might start at 8 or 9 and then be done at 5 or 6, sometimes 4. It really depends. Can I explain why playing it correctly only once is sufficient? I've accidentally played something right, but not have built belief that I'm ready to move on. Is my mindset? If you don't believe that it's correct, definitely do it again. That's another thing. Only move on when you are confident you nailed it. Only move on when you're confident you nailed it. Because the idea of just playing it once and then going up, that's for pushing your speed, trying to get as fast as you can in the shortest amount of time. So that's the main thing there. Because a lot of times people will think they need to do it like over and over and over again and then go up. You're wasting energy doing it like that. You don't want to play the same thing 10 times in a row and then go faster. Because now you're eating into your energy to go faster. And then you could have the argument like, well, why am I going up in only 5 BPM increments? Won't I get tired doing that? There's a bit of a balance here, a bit of give and take. Thing is, if you go up in too high an increment, then you're less likely to be able to play accurately at the faster speeds. And it's great for warming up too, especially at the slower speeds. You're not really going to gas yourself out doing like that, playing slow, with 60, 65, 70 and all that stuff. You're not really going to be pushing yourself like that. It's a great way to get mentally warmed up for it all. Make sure your technique is sounding good. Even though your picking mechanics change as you go faster, the fretting mechanics really don't. As it gets going faster, if you start doing extra repetitions, well now, and especially at the slow speeds, so you're just wasting time to get to the faster thing. You want to get there to the faster speeds as soon as you can. But yeah, like if you're not confident that you nailed it, don't move on. Only move on when you are confident. Because if you doubt that you played it right, then there's a really good chance you didn't. And then I've seen that with students a lot. They're like, oh, well, I wasn't sure if I did, but I wanted to get faster. So, yeah, but you didn't play it correctly at this speed, so you definitely didn't play it correctly at these higher speeds. You just spent time playing terribly. You are welcome. Shade Viking, yeah, guitar is part genetics if you got fast, healthy hands and good brain, nerve connection, etc. like that. That's why styles I play slower to match my style because I broke your wrist, etc. on your fret hand. I broke the picking hand wrist. Skateboarding accident. This bone right here was moved up, just like right here. I don't remember where this bone was. And then like after got out of the cast, I was trying to do a reverse wrist curl, and if I did, the bone would kind of go like pop out and then right back in. It's like, okay, I have limited range of motion now. I can't do full range reverse wrist curls anymore. Oof. Yeah, some are gifted. Absolutely. Joe dislocated your fret hand wrist. Ew. And broke both hands. Jesus. Is it because Freya ran too fast when you were holding her leash? Oof. Okay, yeah, I'll definitely give that a listen there. Send me an email with it. I'll remember it better that way. So my hand timing with each other is off. Pick hand is fast. Fret hand is slow. Can't ever keep them in sync and it goes good anymore. Oh. That's a bummer. Maybe you can rely on legato for certain things and just pick single note stuff like that. Martial arts related. Did you forget to use your chi? Nothing wrong with just playing with a bunch of effects. That could be a lot of fun. All your chi was gone. Holy shit. Guess you couldn't make a spirit bomb either, huh? Whoops. God, I cannot remember my own stuff. I think that's what it is. No, that's not what it is. God, I have to look that up. Damn, what the hell is that chord? I can't remember it. Oof. the hell. I don't remember what the hell comes next. Good thing I tabbed it out. I can't remember my own stuff. Thank you, Shade. You threw a Hadouken. Yeah, and you ran out. You didn't recharge yet. He warmed up and in the zone and forgetting his stuff, damn it. Ah, damn it. Man. I'm usually good at remembering things, but it's been too long. I haven't been playing this stuff enough. All right, that's enough of that. Whew. Reserve bottles of the green energy. Sponsored by Low Miss and Hard Cider Company. I haven't had a hard cider in years. Oh yeah, definite Iron Maiden influence in that one. Oh, you hear some Merciful Fate in there. Interesting. Definitely influenced my getting into metal in mid-90s or whenever the heck I started really getting into it. That's when they reunited after splitting up. So I like the 90s Merciful Fate stuff the best. All right, time to call it. We got 2 hours in there. First video. I mean, definitely gonna be a fair amount of content in there. You know, definitely want to get that edited down and put up soon. And then Andre's video here. Lots of good stuff in there. Had some good questions and discussions today in the chat. That's always good. So thank you everybody who was able to participate. And everyone who watches the archive stuff, thank you as well. But that's going to do it for this week. So, should be on, same time again next week. 2 p.m. Pacific time zone. And, yeah, that's it. See you all again next stream.